Now, I want to point something out. This whole situation reminds me of another YouTuber named Tech Lead. This is Tech Lead's channel right here. Hey, welcome back. This is Shah. Today I'm going to talk about the controversy surrounding Fresh from the Fresh and Fit podcast. And there is a leaked phone call and some screenshots swirling around Twitter in which his now ex-girlfriend, Daisy Chen, basically is revealing to him that she's pregnant and, carrying his child, and he's asking her to get an abortion. So there's some tense back and forth between the two, and it appears that a child support case is going to be happening here soon. So I'm going to take a look at this and speculate how this case might develop. Before we do that, just a quick shout out to the Coach Gang. I appreciate Coach Greg Adams for reacting to my video on his stream in which I was talking to Pearl about the child support program. So shout out to all the Coach Gang members that have subscribed to me. Thank you for the support. Let's get into this. Okay, so here is Walter, also known as Fresh, from the Fresh and Fit podcast, and this is his girlfriend here on the bottom. Here's some more pictures of her. She's an IG model, and she's from China. One thing that's interesting, I don't know much about her, but I remember there was a caller that called into the show and was basically calling out Fresh and saying that his girlfriend is actually an escort. And the caller was mad at Fresh and saying that he's basically tricking and not taking the advice that, he preaches on the show about being a high value man or whatever it was. So I'm going to play a few moments from that clip, and then we're going to go back in. I just want to set the context for what Fresh's relationship was like with her.
By the way, I actually met her months before. Super cool girl. Whatever she does outside of that, once again, that's on her. But again, I obviously like her. She's cool, very good person. I met her as well. And she went shopping. Whatever she does for her money, bro, is up to her. So to put that on me, just because you want to say, oh, Fresh is a simp, wrong. This is why I don't want to explain, because, dude, you don't understand these women at all, which is fine. But her specifically, bro, you don't understand her at all. So listen, whatever you want to say, bro, you can say, but I know what I did. Simple.
Look, your two pieces of proof, I already debunked it. One, you're saying her photos on her escort site. Again, I told you already. People stole her photos. Number two, you're saying, oh, Fresh bought her a Van Cleef bracelet. You have no proof of this.
None.
She comes from a rich family. I don't know why Fresh has never told y'all niggas this, but she does. Family are multi-millionaires, and they're known out there in China. All right? Then number three, you're saying she has stock photos. Cool. She has stock photos. So what? She's not Fresh's wife. He's just fucking her and hanging out with her. It is what it is. He's dating her casually. So who cares if she has stock photos? He's not wifing her, bro. Okay? So, again, dude, all of this stuff, debunked.
So that's the background between Walter and this woman. It would appear he wasn't taking it seriously and he was just dating her casually. But there are claims out there that she's actually an escort. And I mean, looking at these photos, it may be the case, but regardless of whether she is or isn't, Fresh is now in this situation. So let's go ahead and listen to the phone call, and then we'll look at the screenshots.
All right.
I want the baby because I don't want to kill the baby. I don't want to kill nobody. I don't want to.
You're not. They just give you a pill and it's over.
No. I'm pregnant.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The pill, they just give it to you from a doctor and then you're good.
I am pregnant. I can't pretending like nothing happened. I can't. In my religion, we don't kill.
You're not killing. Okay.
I want to keep the baby.
Okay. Well, like I said, I just don't want any kids.
Okay, so what you gonna do? And what you gonna do to me?
Nothing. Why did I do anything to you?
Nothing?
Why did I do anything to you?
No, I know. So how are you gonna deal with this? By saying I don't want a baby? That's all?
I mean, I could go to the doctor, I guess.
To the doctor. So you want abortion?
I mean, yeah. Why do you want a kid now?
So that's the situation. I mean, we heard it from the prior clip that this was supposed to be a casual relationship. He didn't care if she had, escort photos or not, or whatever it was. But this looks really bad on Walter because, part of the show and the dating relationship advice and all this stuff and being a high value man and avoiding these kinds of things and, sleeping with 50 women to gain experience. What we have here is Walter apparently, having unprotected relations with this woman, and now it's looking like he's going to get baby trapped. So this is just bad in so many ways. I mean, there's the child support case. It's also a bad look in the manosphere in general as well. These guys are at the kind of the top here of the manosphere in terms of views and all this kind of stuff. So for this to happen to one of the hosts is unfortunate. And, if you've been following the TradCon and the Red Pill beef, this is just going to be more ammo for the TradCons to lob at the Red Pill. I've always kind of found this idea of like the high value man interesting. And a lot of the Red Pill rhetoric, at least more recently, has been about, hey, we know it's bad, just self-improve, become a high value man. But I've always liked Coach Greg Adams' take on it, where he says high value man equals high value target. And he discusses praying mantises and apex predators, which this woman seems to be. When I used to work at child support, I used to see so many orders cross my desk. And the one thing I noticed was just like making more money and presenting yourself as making more money and relying on that to get women could lead to a really bad situation like this. And the more you make, the more the family court is going to come down on you, especially the child support situation. So being high value doesn't solve these problems. And I would like to see a pivot away from just self-improvement talk and more towards, what the laws are and educating people about the laws and hopefully taking steps to get them changed. So let's go ahead and move forward to the screenshots just so we can see how bad the situation is. Okay, so these are the screenshots, and this was released on Daisy's IG, which is now offline. But this was on her story, and she has 2 pregnancy tests, not 1, but 2, confirming a positive result. And she's in here kind of laying it all out, saying, you always wanted me to be your baby's mother. I loved you and did everything for you to be a good girlfriend. Now this isn't happening. You're walking away. I want you to take the responsibility. He's saying he'll call her. After the phone call, he says, I can't have kids. And she's like, take responsibility. And right here is interesting. He says, it's not about that right now. It's not good. And a lot is happening, especially now business may be over. So I don't know if this has any kind of truth in regards to the Fresh and Fit podcast, to how the finances might be doing, or if this is just something he's saying so that she can think, okay, I can't get any money out of this. He says, I don't want kids right now. And we spoke about it and you agreed. She says, I never agreed. I agreed based on your actions. Are you not educated? If you keep coming side on me, I will get pregnant. Words mean nothing. Man up. I'm not saying I want to be with you. I don't, because you are nothing to me, but the baby is innocent. So, I mean, going back to the escort claims, I'm not saying she's an escort here, but it's starting to seem like with how short the relationship was, that there's a real praying mantis situation possibly going on here. Fresh Response says, you should have a kid with someone you are with love in the same household. It won't be what you expect. Man up, I'm telling you now so you know. I don't expect anything anymore since we are not together. I got pregnant with you when I was in your house and when I was in love. You wanted to have the baby. If you didn't, you did come in me with your own pleasure. It's not fair for the baby. He says, what are you saying? We are not together and won't be. Why would that be good for a kid? So then she's asking, like, why were you still going raw inside me? Which was a horrible decision on his part, and I, as someone who worked at a child support agency, this is something I saw a lot of cases where, people's lives are changed dramatically from these bad decisions, from not using protection. And now Fresh is completely vulnerable here because, he can't force her to take the pill or get an abortion. It's not up to him. She says, all I'm saying is you should take the responsibility for what you did. I am a victim in this relationship and I'm carrying your baby. You act like you don't care and you don't want nothing. Also, now I'm worried I have to test other girls, at least 4. She's like, another girl, 4 girls. You are saying you have sex with 4 girls without protection. I hope you have all the money for your child support. You finally admit you are effing trash. As an aside, that's kind of funny because he's probably saying that to her just to get one on her because she's like, I don't want to be with you anymore. He's like, well, whatever. You're just one of 5. But at the same time, she's like, oh my God, if all these women are pregnant, her share of child support is going to be divided by, 5 kids, which would suck for her. Then he says, I don't have money. Good luck. LOL. You will see. Is the whole business name just in Myron's name? Maybe it's not even really in Walter's name. Maybe Walter's just been kind of fronting on Instagram and he's just kind of an employee like the rest of the folks there on the Fresh and Fit podcast. And who knows, this might be a strategy. He might have Myron change all the paperwork to say he's only making a few bucks above minimum wage. So when the agency does come after him, it'll be hard for them to find any other income, but we'll see what happens. Now, I want to point something out. This whole situation reminds me of another YouTuber named Tech Lead. This is Tech Lead's channel right here. And Tech Lead, he worked for Google. He's an ex-Google, ex-Facebook employee. And he's making good money out there in the Bay Area here in California. And he got married to a woman from Japan. And after a couple of years, they had a kid. And that woman took the kid and left to Japan. So he's been pretty vocal and honest about what happened to him on his channel. But he got screwed over from the child support system pretty badly. And this is significant to me because Walter's now ex-girlfriend, who he was apparently casually dating, who's now claiming to be pregnant, is actually from China. And, Walter doesn't have really any rights in the situation right now because the child hasn't been born yet. And she can just take a flight to China, stay there for the rest of the pregnancy, have the baby. And, Walter's going to end up in Tech Lead's position to where he's just paying this woman U.S. American dollars in child support, and it's getting sent from the agency straight to her. And that's something that I used to see a lot of in back where I was at here in California. We had international cases all the time. I mean, I saw a case with the woman in the Philippines, who had a kid with someone, and the guy was here. And the guy obviously has zero custody, no way to see the kid, whatever. And all she had to do was call up our child support agency here locally. And, we initiated a case for her, got him served, and got his wages garnished. And she's living in the Philippines. So we're sending the California guideline calculator amount to her. So we're charging him child support as if she's living in California, right? With our laws and regulations. And then we're sending her that money internationally to where she is in the Philippines. And she, hey, it's a good deal for her. I saw cases like that. I mean, I saw some from Brazil, all kinds of places. So international cases aren't something that the child support agency doesn't know how to deal with. And when it comes to child support and it comes to custody, those two are separate. If he comes into the agency and he's just like, she won't let me see my kid, why do I have to pay? Child support's not going to care. They're going to say, go figure out custody. That's your problem. And one thing I'll point out to you guys in regards to custody is this. So this is the Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act. And this is something that is enacted, I believe, in 49 out of 50 states, in which you have uniform child custody jurisdiction procedures laid out for the states. And basically what that means is for custody, it depends on the child's home state. See, and this child's going to be in China. And, even like he's going to have, it's going to be very tough for him to get custody. And if we look at Tech Lead's example, he tried to go to Japan and it was a complete failure for him. So he's just sort of stuck paying for this child. He can't even see all the way up until this child, emancipates. And it's just like the worst situation you can be in. So this Daisy woman can really, really screw over Walter if she wants to. Aside from all that, there's, a number of other things in this video, especially the abortion comments. If you've been following the Red Pill and TradCon, war that's been ongoing, one of the things that Fresh and Fit podcast, particularly Myron, was criticized about was his statements saying, sleep with 50 women prior to getting married. And a lot of the tradcons didn't like that. Michael Knowles didn't like that. Matt Walsh, a lot of the folks from that side. And they call it degenerate and all this stuff. And they really don't like abortion and all that stuff. So now we have an example here of Walter sleeping with, multiple women. And now he's stepped in a giant pile of doo-doo, basically. And this is one of the negative consequences of sleeping with 50 women. And I can appreciate what Myron says when he says sleep with 50 women. I mean, he's basically saying get some experience with women. If you're going to deal with modern women, you got to understand when they genuinely like you and when they don't, or when they're just using you. But the problem here is that Walter is supposed to be someone who is educated in this, and this is what they sell. So for him to make this mistake and, make this huge misstep just looks really bad for the manosphere in general, particularly if this is the message that the red pill has been spreading. And one of the things that I noticed, is that the red pill in its early days, especially, was, as Rollo will say, is more about intersexual dynamics. This is the Chilton Manual. It doesn't give prescriptive statements. But as YouTube became a thing, the manosphere evolved. You got these podcasts and you started hearing things like, sleep with 50 women, all these kinds of things. Me personally, I'd like to see a pivot from the whole, become a high value man mantra, which, shout out to Coach Greg Adams, is just synonymous with being a high value target, and the apex predators come out. But I'd like to see a shift from focusing on that to actually advocating for men's rights in a certain way. I mean, Walter's in this situation where he has no control. If she doesn't want to abort, he has no right to say, hey, I don't want to pay child support since I have no say in this. It doesn't matter. The way the system is now, if she decides to have this child, he's going under. And I'd like to see guys like Fresh and Fit and some of the other bigger creators advocating for legal change instead of just this kind of individual, every man for himself. We all got to become high value. I mean, because we see this perfect example of someone who's quote unquote become high value, and he's completely become, beholden to the system. It didn't work. It was not the long-term solution. And that's where we're at now. So I'll be following this and seeing how it develops. Again, she might choose not to have the child. She might choose to work it out with him. A lot of things can happen. I do wonder, he could successfully fight this. He could get a genetic test and maybe the child isn't his. If it is his, he could finagle his income in a way that makes it so the child support agency thinks he's just getting minimum wage here, getting paid by Myron. Though I kind of doubt that. I think that would be kind of tough to get past the judge. I'm sure there's a lot of income history from his taxes that are filed, and the child support agencies can see all of that stuff. So if the judge wants to impute income there in Florida based off what he's making, that might happen. And if you made it this far, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I appreciate all the recent subscribers from Pearl's channel and from Coach's channel. We'll see you on the next one.